all the time. Amen. This evening I'm going to talk to you. I'm trying to finish up this series about this is my story.
Amen.
And this evening we're talking about the woman at the well for just a little bit. Could you give me some volume on this? The woman at the well, and I'll take it up in a second. Thank you. That's a little too much. I like the story of the woman at the well. I'm not a woman, and I've never been to a well there, but I have been, but not to draw water. But I see myself in the story. And I want to talk to you for just a little bit about that. Brother Mark, when I get done, we'll pick up the office and wave at me, okay? Thank you. This evening, I just want to talk to you for a few minutes, and I'm not going to keep you forever. This morning, I almost preached my voice out, and so we'll see how it goes tonight. If you have your Bible, John chapter 4. We're going to start with verse 5. It's a very familiar passage of Scripture, but one of the things that the Lord's kind of laid on my heart lately is these stories that we just take for granted that we know. Go back and see what they really are talking about. Dig deeper into them. You can get a surface understanding of what really is going on in the situation, but there's always something underlying there. For example, the prodigal son was not just a wicked kid that was spoiled brat and did what he wanted to do. He was us. He was who we are without God. He's who we are when we cut ourselves off from Him. When you get there, say amen. So he came to the city of Samaria. This is New King James, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, therefore, being weary from his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour, or noon. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. When the woman of Samaria said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For the Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." And Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God, who it was that said to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as well as his sons and his livestock?" Jesus answered and said to her, "Whosoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whosoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. The water that I shall give him will become to him a fountain of water springing up to everlasting life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water, that I may not thirst, or come near to draw." And Jesus said to her, "Go, call your husband, and come here." The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." And Jesus said to her, "You have well said, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and one whom you now have is not your husband. That you spoke truly." We're almost done. The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and the Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me that there are hour coming when will neither be in this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you do. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father is seeking such to worship Him. God is a spirit, and those who worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth." And we're almost done. The woman said to him, "I know that the Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When He comes, He will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "Who I who speak to you am He." Would you pray with me, please? Father, I thank you for the opportunity to preach your gospel for just a few minutes tonight. Father, I give you praise and honor. I give you glory for this house. And I thank you for the altars that were full this evening, God. I pray that every need is met, that every heart is given peace. God, that this word that you have given me today will settle itself in our spirits. Father, we give you praise. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. And everybody said, Amen. Just share with you for a few minutes tonight about the woman at the well. We all know the story. If you've grown up in church for any length of time, you know that the woman at the well had been married 5 times, and the person that she was living with now was her 6th guy that she lived with, but she wasn't married to him. And we've heard the stories of how she came at noon to draw water, and we've heard the preachers say, well, the only reason she would come at noon was in the hot of the day was because the other people would shun her because of her past. And so when there was nobody else at the well, she would go to the water and get water from the well. We've all heard that story. We've all heard that she was less than because of her past. We've all heard the stories told. We've all heard it preached that it was Jesus, that we all need Jesus. And when Jesus showed up, she perceived that he was a prophet. But also, if I had read on, you could read on later yourself. But she goes and tells the village everything that, come meet a man who has told me everything that I've ever done. And as Jesus' disciples were coming toward him, he starts talking about a harvest. And he starts talking about the fields are already ripe with harvest, and he starts talking about a harvest. And if you'll get this picture in your mind, and some of you have heard me say this before, but once you get this picture in your mind, Jesus gets up from the well and walks toward his disciples. And as his disciples are walking toward him, the lady from Samaria is walking toward the disciples with a bunch of people. And Jesus starts talking about a harvest. He wasn't talking about wheat, he was talking about people. And he said, behold the harvest. And I don't think the disciples really got it. But I don't think a lot of us really get it. That it doesn't really matter how good we think we are, or how wonderful our life has been. Jesus is not looking for a perfect person. He's looking for a willing person. Amen. I could start from the back and work my way to the front, and we could start talking about all of our flaws and the reasons why you're not worthy to be called by God. We could start from the front, start working to the back. I could begin, and we could be here till 10 o'clock, and I could tell you everything and the reasons why that God shouldn't use me. And there's been many things in my life I've messed up, and many things in my life I've done wrong. And we could start with that and go forward, and it'd be a long process. By the time it was midnight, we probably wouldn't get off the first 3 rows. We began to tell God why we weren't worthy. I love this story because it reminds me that no matter how I've messed up in my life, and no matter where I come from, and no matter what my last name is, and no matter what my nationality, and no matter what tribe I belong to, no matter whether I grew up on Highland Street or if I grew up over in the rich part of town, it doesn't matter. It matters mostly if I accept God, accept the living water of Jesus Christ. It doesn't really matter who I am or what I've done. If I accept Him, all things are made new. It doesn't really matter to Jesus exactly who I really am. It matters exactly if I would accept Him. See, because what happens is this, that we so much say, well, there's so many more people that are so worthy of other things. And I don't know about you, but I like the lady Christine Kane. I love Christine Kane, and I love to listen to her speak. And she does it's called A21, I believe it is, where she goes and rescues girls that were bought in the sex trade, and goes rescues them and brings them out of that and gets them back on their feet and gets them back in a stable place. And they have things all over the world. And she's from Australia, and she was born without a name. When she was born, her birth certificate just says girl such number. But she didn't know that until she was later in her life. She didn't know she was adopted. And the thing is, she was the least likely because her mother didn't want her. She was born without a name. She didn't have anybody that cared for her other than the nurses in the hospital. But somebody adopted her. Somebody brought her in the house and made her a daughter. Somebody loved her enough, and God had a plan for her life. And I don't know if you guys know who that is even, but Google her up. You can Google her as easy as I can. And you can Google up Christine Kane. And she's from Australia, and she's lived in the United States now for a long time. She just battled cancer. She had cancer. I think it was thyroid cancer. And that, she's battled that and got through that. But can I tell you a secret? None of us can say, well, I'm not worthy, because none of us are worthy. None of us can say, because I'm not worthy, I can't do this, because none of us are worthy. We're not any of us ready for what God has for us to do. I don't care. You can prepare. But when God speaks into your life, you go, whoa, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. See, right now you're comfortable where you're at in your life, some of you. There's money in the bank. You have a nice home. Your bills are paid. You're not sick. Your family's not sick. Everything seems to be good. But you know, in an instant, that can change. In one doctor's appointment, it could all be over. In one doctor's appointment, in one instant, it could all be over with. And what you thought was security now is insecurity. I had the privilege of working with a young man named Mike Dykus. His dad owned several grocery stores in the years past, but now he just has one in Ada, and his name is Jim. And some 17 years ago, Mike had just came back from Washington, D.C., and he'd worked in Washington, D.C., and him and his wife had come back to Ada, Oklahoma to just take over the family business. Jim had plans. Him and Jim had all these plans. Mike was in his early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, full of life, had a beautiful wife, had just been married a short time. She goes to a shopping trip in Dallas with her friends, car wreck, she's dead. A year later, Mike's in the back room of a grocery store, stepped off of a pallet, hurt my back. Come to find out he has stage 4 lung cancer, never smoked a cigarette in his life. A month prior to that, he'd run a marathon. Never any kind of symptoms, never anything. Super good guy. Very involved in his church, very talented piano player and singer. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who you are. I said all that to say this. Within 2 years of coming back to Ada, Oklahoma, to take Ada over by storm, had all these plans, all these things all these stores that were going to open. Within 2 years, they're both gone. It can all be turned in an instant. It can all be turned in an instant. Jim is now in his 70s. His daughter's a school teacher in Ada. Has no plans on taking over the grocery store business. He has nobody to turn over what he thought he was going to turn over to his son. His plans were messed up. So he has grandchildren. I guess he's hanging on for that. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while about it. But he's a good guy. I'm sure that you can find somebody in Ada that doesn't like him. Because if you have been an employer of anybody, I'm sure there's somebody that doesn't like you. You treated them badly or something. But as I digress and I come back and I get back to my story, the woman came to draw water, and Jesus said, "Give me a drink." His disciples had gone to buy meat for the other people, and so Jesus said to the lady, "Give me something to drink." And the lady looks at him cross-eyed and says, "Why are you talking to me? Why are you talking to me? You have no dealings with me. You're a Jew and I'm a Samaritan. You have no dealings with me." And when I think of this story, this is what I think of, what comes across in my mind, and maybe I'm off base and maybe I'm wrong, but so many times it seems like us as Christians don't want to intermingle with those who are non-Christian. And it's sometimes they look at us crazy when we talk to them because, what are you talking to me for? Christians have no dealings with me.
Come on.
I'm not saying that I'm going to go to the bar and sit on a bar stool and try to drink somebody under the table to be a witness. That's not a witness. Isn't it amazing how we always say things like, well, I had to go where they go to win them. Okay. But why is it always we're going where they go instead of they coming where we? It seems like we compromise. Help me out just a minute. And so the lady sitting at the well, and she said, Jesus said to her, give me the drink, for his disciples had gone away to buy food in the city. And the woman said to him, you being a Jew, why are you even talking to me? You have no business talking to me. Why are you saying anything? And Jesus answered and said to her, if you knew who was talking to you, you'd shut up and give me a drink. They didn't say it that way, that's what I said. And he said, the woman said, sir, you have nothing to draw with. You have nothing to draw with. The well is deep. Where then do you get this living water? I love it because he opened up the lines of communication. Church, can I just share with you a few things and I'm going to be out of here. Number one, those that have been here any length of time know my heart. And it's not just about church with me. It's about souls with me. I was so excited Wednesday night. So excited Wednesday night. See, I've preached for, I believe it's 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. On Sunday morning. And nobody has come forward. On a Wednesday night, 16 kids come and say, I want this day. I was so excited, Lisa. I was so excited. I was so happy when I left Wednesday night. I was like, yes, maybe I am doing some good. I don't know. I was so excited, and I was excited about what God was doing, and because for me, it's all about that. It's all about people receiving Jesus Christ, and I don't know. Listen, you can say, well, where were they at today? I don't know. Don't know. Most of them don't show up on Sunday mornings or Sunday nights. We don't give them opportunity really on Sunday nights to show up, but Sunday mornings most of them don't show up. But I'm praying that with this Wednesday night they'll be back in church. Pray. I did find this, that we weren't prepared for 16 people to come forward. What do you mean we're prepared? We had nothing to give them and say, hey, if you need me, call me. We had nothing to put in their hand and say, hey, this is what you just did. This is who Jesus is. We had nothing. We weren't prepared. We didn't have anything to give. We had no water to give them. We weren't prepared. Because we're so used to nobody coming forward, well, we have to be prepared. That's why I had them huddle up after service. I don't know if you guys even noticed that, but I had them huddle up after service and come up to the front because I wanted to speak into them. I didn't have anything to give them physically, but I needed to speak into their life and give them some information so they could get hold of me if they needed in contact with me or Landon or Abby or anybody. I needed to put some information in their phones. I needed to tell them something. I needed to take care of them because if I don't take care of them, even though I've given them water to drink, if they don't have any way to get back to that well. The woman said, sir, I have nothing to draw with and the well is deep. Where then do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob? Because she didn't know who Jesus was. He's given us as well and drank from himself and his sons and livestock. Jesus answered and said, whosoever drinks of this water will thirst again, but whosoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain, the springing up an everlasting life. Can I just say something to you just real fast? And I want you to understand and look at me real quick. Listen. I don't know. I don't know where we've gone. It seems like It's almost like pulling teeth to get us to pray and to seek God. And I know, listen, no judgment. I'm no judgment here, okay? I'm not judging you. I'm just saying to you that there was a time, and I'm not ready to go back to the old days, but there are some things we left there we need to take with us.
Yeah. Come on.
There was a time when your relationship with God was more important than anything else. I was thinking the other day, when I was a teenager, and Dave and Lisa were my youth pastors. And, I remember we got rid of a bunch of stuff one service. And it wasn't the burnout thing, it was another thing. We brought some things and got rid of them, and there were hindrances in our lives. And I don't know if you remember that or not, but I remember it. I was probably 14 or 15 years old, and people were bringing things that were hindrances in their lives and holding them back and things like that. And I wonder how many of us who those things were hindrances are carrying them around again today. What do you mean? There were some things in our lives back in the day when I was 14 and 15 years old. I was in a struggle with playing in bands or playing for God. I wanted to, you're 15, 16 years old, and you're drawn away by the shiny thing. And there were some things that were hindrances in my life that I brought and we gave. I can't remember if we gave it to altar. I don't know what we did. I don't remember that. I just remember we brought them. Maybe we wrote them down. I don't remember what it was. But I just remember that service where we came and gave our hindrances to the Lord. And I guess being 49 years old and looking at a church that has some of the same people in it that were here then, but very few. Very few of my generation that grew up here do I even know attend the church faithfully. I don't know. I don't see very many of them, and I don't hear from very many of them. I don't know about Twinehart. I don't know if he's still in church or not in church. I don't know, but I know that there's young people that I went to church with that are lost as they can be, and I just wonder, did they pick it back up again? Did they pick up that thing that was hindering them? Did they pick it back up and they put it back on their shoulder? They may have thrown away the record, but now they have it downloaded. Come on now. They may have had a struggle with pornography back in the day, and they gave all that away, but now it's on their phone. Maybe they struggled with alcohol at 18 or 19 years old. There was a time period when they didn't use alcohol, but somebody convinced them it was okay to have a drink at lunch. David used to preach to us. If you have a problem with alcohol, don't go to a dirt road with your friends at a 6-pack or 12-pack. He used to preach that to me. I didn't listen, but he preached it to me. He used to preach to us, if you have a problem with lust for your girlfriend, you don't go out on a dirt road, just you and her. So this lady is sitting at a well, and she's got a problem. The problem is, number one, she's lost. She's excluded. She doesn't know Jesus. She's hurting. What do you mean? How do you know she's hurting? Because she's been married 5 times and she's living with the 6th one. So there's something broken in her. There's something broken in her. She's hurting, and just her reaction when Jesus asked her for something to drink, you can almost see her neck snap. Like, you don't talk to me. I don't know who you think. You can almost see it. There's something in her life that's just not right. And so can I share a few things in this? There are things in your life right now that are broken, and God has tried to remove those things, and you leave them alone for a little while, but you pick them back up Because it's just comfortable. Pink Floyd has a song about that. It's called Comfortably Numb. And sometimes I believe that the church is comfortably numb.
Come on.
Sometimes I believe that we have just gotten so comfortable in the house of God to come in and out of service time and time again. Nothing really changes. We're just comfortable. Check this out. Jesus made the disciples so uncomfortable. What do you mean? He said, I got to go through Samaria. Samaria? We're going to go buy food. I don't even want to go to Samaria. So they went to buy food. They did not understand why Jesus had a desire to go to Samaria, but there was somebody he needed to speak to. And so he says, I got to go through Samaria. And the disciples were like, I don't want to go through Samaria. It stinks of Samaria. If you ever get to go to Jerusalem, it's broken up into quarters. The Muslim quarter is the nastiest, dirtiest place I've been in my life. Burned out cars on the side of the road, trash in the streets. They throw trash out of the window down into a little ravine. It's the dirtiest, nastiest place. The Arab quarter. It's just an awful place. That's where the Garden of Gethsemane is. In that quarter. And you go there, and you have to walk through a pretty rough little neighborhood to get there. You go there, and it's like a scene from. You've seen down in Mexico, where you've seen downtown in Mexico, where the cars are all turned over on their side and burned out. There's trash all over. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. They cared nothing about Jerusalem. They just don't want the Jews to have it. They can say whatever they want, but it's still the truth. So when they come and they go to Samaria, I get it. I don't want to walk through there. That's a rough area. I don't want to go through there. Why are we going there? We can't even speak to her anyway. I don't want to talk to anybody in Samaria. We don't have any dealings with them. So church, can I share with you? Just hang with me. We have to have dealings with people we don't like. Not that we don't like their soul. We don't like their actions. We have to have dealings with people and tell them about Jesus. People that we don't even really want to associate ourselves with. And I understand the concept of we separate because we're separated. We're separate. We're not of this world. We're separate. I get that. But we're not of this world. But we're in it. And we're in it for a reason. Our reasoning is so that we can be a witness to of God and we can tell them about Jesus. And so Jesus comes to this lady at the well and talks to her and begins to tell her what he can do for her. And she doesn't really understand and she doesn't really get it. She doesn't really know. But can I share this with you? That Heike, when you first got saved, you probably didn't understand everything you understand now. You probably didn't understand, Nita, everything that you understand now. You probably didn't get, I don't understand that. Why wouldn't he go to Samaria? I don't understand that. You probably didn't get that, but now you understand that the Samaritans and the Jews did not intermingle. And so you understand, you get a little glimpse of what God is doing in our lives. And so he said to her, go get your husband. She said, I don't have a husband. He said, I know you don't have a husband. You've had 5. And now you're living with somebody else. Church, I know that you've given it a shot, and a shot, and a shot, and a shot, and a shot. Maybe you've fallen short 5 times in your life. And all Jesus is saying is, listen, I understand that you've had 5 errors in your life, at least 5. And that the area you're living with now, I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about your life as a whole. And the thing you're doing now, I'm talking about the thing you're doing now. You may not be reaching where you need to reach. And Jesus says, listen, that's fine. It is true that you have fallen short 5 times. And it is true that you don't have a husband. And that is true. But can I share this with you? That here's the deal. That you have got to understand this. That God himself said, I understand all your past. Amen. I get it. You made some really bad choices. Man, aren't you glad that on the screens we can't put your bad choices?
Man.
Aren't you glad if there's not a picture of you in a cowboy hat and some rovers? That's not even a good look. Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad that your mullet isn't on the screen and your earring? Come on, man. Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad that your ice chest isn't open for the world to see? I'm glad. It doesn't matter. Jesus sees your past and He gets it. Now, I preached this before, and what I preached about it before was about Jesus had certain places He had to be because there were certain people He had to meet. Zacchaeus, the woman at the well. He went to the certain tree and looked up, and Zacchaeus was in the tree because Zacchaeus was where he was supposed to be. The woman at the well, she was at the well where she was supposed to be. It's not like Jesus just happened to appoint her. He knew she would be there. And He got there when she was going to be there. And He wanted, it's not like the disciples caught Him off guard by saying, oh, we're going to go buy some food. No kidding, go. I need to talk to her. I got it. The woman says, sir, for we see that our prophet, verse 20 says, our fathers worshipped on the mountains, and the Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where we ought to worship. Jesus said, woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you don't know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such to worship Him. God is the Spirit, doesn't worship us, worship the Spirit and the truth. The woman said, I know Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When He comes, He will tell us all things. Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am He. I want you to focus with me for maybe 10 minutes and I'll let you out of here. I love this story, and this is the reason why. I know what it's like to have failed, to fall short. I know what it feels like to feel like you're ostracized and nobody really cares. And you feel like you're alone to get your own water. Can anybody relate? I know what it's like to feel like nobody is praying for you. I know what it feels like that nobody cares about you. I know what that feels like. See, when I got saved from my trash, I didn't get spiritual amnesia. I still remember. I remember. I can't forget where God brought me from. I don't want to forget where God brought me from. I don't want to forget that God brought me from ashes and a new life begins. Because Jesus was called.
Amen.
I don't want to forget that I had to come to an altar. I don't want to forget that I had to find my way back. I don't want to forget that I had to be there in that presence of God. I don't want to forget that. I don't want to forget what that feels like. Do you understand what I'm saying? Guys, do you remember going to a prayer closet in this church and shaking under the power of God? Where's that at? That's at your mother's classroom, and it's now Shirley's classroom. I remember that's where I used to pray before service. I remember being me and Mike and Billy would be shaking under the presence of God. Not trying to shake, trying not to shake. And just quivering. You understand? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
amen.
Where's that at? I have become. Come on now. I have that's as God as I want. Dad, I'm going to take a selfie with the lady at the well. Well, life. But I have as much of God as I want. Everything's okay. Is it? Is it really? See, she was in her existence that she had brought upon herself. Maybe the guys left her. I don't know. But she was in the existence of the woman. She's the woman at the well until Jesus showed up. Her life was set. At noon, she'd go get water. She was living with Phil. I don't know. He was down the street. He wasn't her husband. At least she got smart enough not to get married after 5. She was living with her husband. Or whatever. And all of a sudden, Jesus messes up her life by showing up and presenting himself as the water that she'll never thirst again. I'm standing here today, I'm not trying to throw any judgment at you at all. I'm just trying to get you to think a little bit. Just trying to get you to think for just a second about what God has really, really done in your life. I gotta find this here. What has He really done to help you? And you've forgotten because we've gotten comfortable. It's easy to come to church. See, I'm very happy that God has blessed us financially. I'm very happy that God has blessed us with nice things. I've had both. I've had not nice things and nice things. I like nice things better. But there's something missing. The water. I feel like sometimes we have water, but we have water that makes us thirst again. I feel like sometimes we have the water that is a counterfeit. It's not the real thing. It's not actually Jesus. It's religious. It's do the right thing. Try not to cuss. Try not to get drunk. Try not to do drugs. And then in reality, it's supposed to be, I don't cuss. I will not. I will not. Because why? Because it's not in me. That's the reality. That's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a self-help 12-step program. It's supposed to be a life-changing, never thirst again, life-changing miracle that happens in your life. It's not supposed to be after Jesus leaves, we go, boy, I hope I can make it. What? First of all, Jesus doesn't leave us. He never leaves us. He doesn't, I don't know how to say it. He doesn't hold us down for a little while and get us right with Him, and then all of a sudden go, okay, I'm out. I'll see you later. Good luck. Because if you'll read it, it says, easily put that up about, go back to verse 20, 5 and 20. Keep going, 21, 22, and 23. Sorry, couldn't remember where that. I like this one, but our is coming with now is the true worshipers shall worship the Father, Spirit, and truth. For the Father seeking such to worship. We have verse 24. God's a spirit. As a worshiper must worship the Spirit and truth. 25. The woman said to him, I know Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When He comes, He will tell us all things. Verse 26. Jesus said to him, I am who speak to you, and He. What does that mean? Jesus messed up her life by speaking his life into her. Wrap this up. Wrap it up. So many of you sitting out there right now, and you really don't even know who you are. You've allowed your mistakes and your past to define you. You've allowed your mistakes to define what time you go to the well and who you go to the well with. You've allowed the things in your life to keep you captive. You've allowed the things in your life to make you feel like you're not worthy of God's love or God's whatever. You've allowed the things in your life to keep you down and to hold you down. You've allowed the things that used to happen in your life to define who people say you are now. And you haven't been that person in 20 years, but still yet, that's how people define you. And you've allowed that to get hold of your life and mold you into, I'm that person. No, you're not. You don't even really know who you are. You've been playing this role. But that's not who you are. The woman at the well, yes, it was true that she had 5 husbands, and yes, she was living with a 6th one still. And so, it was true that she was by herself to draw water in the hot part of the day. That's true. Those are facts. You can't change facts. Maybe there's somebody in here that used to be, I don't know, hooked on drugs or alcohol or sexual perversion, or maybe you've been divorced 18 times. I don't know. Maybe those are true facts in your life. But that doesn't define who you are now.
Amen.
Because when I come to Jesus, all things are made new. When I give my life to Him, then I'm supposed to be able to be born again or start over. I'm not supposed to be defined by everything I did in the past. Does it go away? No, it doesn't go away. In people's minds, it doesn't go away. But in God's mind, it does. People remember. They do. As a child of Seminole, Oklahoma, I can tell you people remember who you were. There's people that I don't even know come up to me, and I don't have a clue who they are. I haven't seen them since high school, and I don't remember them then. But they know who I am. They're like, oh, hey there, guy. I don't know. Don't know. I graduated with a bunch of people. Half of them I didn't see. From 8th grade on, I didn't see them. So I don't know who they are. I remember their name, but I can't remember their face. I graduated with a bunch of kids. In my class, there was about as many kids as there was in her school. Pretty close. I had a large class. I had a large group. People remember it, but it doesn't define me. I'm defined by Him. When Jesus came to me and He met me at that well, when He spoke to her, did you notice the tone? Did you notice the tone in which Jesus spoke? He spoke to her compassionately, not with judgment. Ethan, put that back up. I don't remember what scripture it is offhand. I turned my phone off. It's done. No. Can somebody help me out? Where's it at? Where he said you've had 5. 18. Thank you. Yes. Let's go back to 17. I'm going to read 17 as well. When the woman answered, said, I have no husband. And Jesus said to her, you have well said you have no husband. He was excited because she didn't lie to him. You have well said you don't have a husband, because you don't. For you have had 5 husbands, and one of whom is not your husband. In that you spoke truly. See, Jesus found the truth in her explanation. He found that nugget. Because she was embarrassed. So she's like, I don't have a husband. You're right. Phil's not your husband. But you're staying with him. And so now all of a sudden Jesus finds that he doesn't say, you are such a liar. You've had 5. And I can't believe you're living with that guy Phil now. I can't believe it. Who do you think you are? Don't you know who you're standing in front of? Fall down and worship me. Somebody said. He said, you're right. You've had 5, and Phil's not him. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Verse 19. The woman said to him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Verse 20. Our fathers worshipped in the mountain. And the Jews said that Jerusalem is a place where we worship. I don't want to read all that again. You can read all that again. Hear me. Here's the deal. I told you I'd get you out of here in 10 minutes. I lied. It wasn't judgment that brought her to Jesus. It was compassion. We can judge people all we want to judge them. We can tell them how bad they are and how awful their life is all we want to. Or we can just simply point out, hey, I know what's going on in your life. I know meth has hold of your life. But can I give you something that will get you higher than meth? Can I get you something that will clean your life up? Can I get you a drink from a well? No judgment. An answer.
Amen.
An answer. See, one thing I've found from young men and young women who are addicted to meth are just looking for an escape, some way to feel better. Self-medicating through methamphetamine or alcohol or marijuana or whatever. You know, I heard the other day, and I didn't know this was true, but I believe it is, that the opioid epidemic is so bad in Oklahoma that there are so many people that are addicted to opioids that they will quit buying opioids and get hooked to heroin because heroin's cheaper. I didn't know that. My eyes were open. Bing! You gotta be kidding me, because heroin is for rock stars. That's how they die. Heroin overdoses. And I didn't coordinate the two. But you know, there's housewives that are addicted to heroin because they had an opioid addiction that they can't afford, so now they're addicted to heroin. Do you have a cause? I didn't know that. That's out of my realm of my life. I don't know anything about opioid addiction. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. That's out of my, I can't wrap my head around that. That there's a mom who gets her kids off to school and then shoots up heroin because she can't afford opioids because she's addicted to them. What? It's hard for me to wrap my head around. But it's cheaper than buying pills. But it takes you down a darker hole. I didn't understand that. So don't you think that lady or that guy, they don't need judgment, they need an answer.
Amen.
That's why we have to be prepared when 16 people come up to me and say, I want to meet Jesus. And we're prepared to give them Jesus and not some kind of false water.
Right.
See, if we give them Jesus, they won't thirst anymore. They won't thirst after heroin. They won't thirst after opioids. They won't thirst after meth. They won't thirst. If we actually give them the real Jesus. Well, how do you know that, Brother Jeff? Because for most of my life, most of my Christian life, I had the fake water. What do you mean? I had the religious water. And I thirsted after everything. I thirsted and I thirsted and I thirsted and I thirsted. But it wasn't until I got really to Jesus that I don't thirst anymore. I thirst for Him. I long for Him. I long to be in His presence. But do you understand what I'm saying? Does anybody understand what I'm saying? That you were in a religious move of God and you thirsted after sinful things, but it wasn't until you actually got hold of Jesus that you didn't thirst for those things anymore? You understand? All my people that grew up with me, do you understand what I'm talking about? We had a great move of God. did. Some of us still thirsted for the things. Well, that's just how young people do. They go out and they come back. They don't have to. That's another lie of the devil. They don't have to. Give them the real thing. They won't thirst for anything else. They won't have to thirst for anything else. I lied. I took 18 minutes instead of 10.